Hey, Dragon Metals here. Today I'll be tearing apart this Technic's stereo cassette tape deck to see what goodies are inside. Already removed a lot of mounting screws to shorten teardown time. Just attach my phone to my tripod. Got a better angle so I don't have to hold this thing. Take off this metal sheath. Big chunk of metal. Steel. Know that because I tested the last thing with the magnets. Last one. Strange connector for the circuit board. That's non-conventional. Another one of them switches, lever switches. Any more screws in here? Lots. Bunny rabbits trying to join in this video. Getting my cables for the lighting rig thing. A few screws here. They seem to be anodized red also. Pretty nice. Nice coloured screws. They'd be nice on some sort of remote control car or something. All the screws. And this board. Not so sure. Definitely. What's this? Some sort of metal alloy. More pins and switches. These are strange non-conventional ones. These sockets. Guess you call them, yep, sockets. Not the usual. Definitely silver plated in the connectors. Some of these are going to need to be cut with scissors. Okay. So, one circuit board free. One with a strange metal bar. You've got it free. That could probably be of some use, as could this metal sheath in the background. Some sort of mounting perhaps. So what do we have on this board? Ooh, lots and lots of transistors here. These contain microscopic amounts of silver. A lot of the legs, for example, are plated. I've seen people recover lots of silver from them. A few electrolytic capacitors. They actually look almost brand new and serviceable. If I could extract them, but I never do that way. I just usually use them for scrap. As they can be stripped for burned down for very, very, very pure aluminium, which is what they're made of, usually plated with silver. Got a potentiometer here. Yeah, rotates well, turny, good. These brown capacitors, along with the green ones, contain tantalum, a type of extremely strong, high melt temperature metal that has some value to it. These ceramic ones contain, I think, it's a very small filament of silver inside of them. Not much though, you need like literally dozens of kilograms to get even a gram probably. It's only trace amounts. Got some germanium in these things here, these Zener diodes, that's what they're called. Type of block-in diode, blocks voltage in one direction but not the other. Sort of like a valve, basically. It's an electronic valve. That's what it does, anyway. A nice sized board here. This is it's made in Japan, as you can see at the top. And it's called the Elna M1. There's some sort of audio amplifier controller, I suspect, and this would probably be the heart of this cassette tape player. This thing, this chip. As you can see, it's got a lot of outputs and inputs on the lots of legs. I mean, on there, controlling different stuff. Some solder on there, but not much. Not as much as the last thing I took apart, but there's a little bit of solder on here. You can see. Nice row of solder there, which is composed of tin and either lead, antimony, or different ratios of silver depending on the audio device's quality. More stuff inside of here. Move that back a bit, just get a little bit of a better angle. Cool. These are secured by plastic. Hidden circuit boards that are secured by plastic holders. What do we have here? Looks like a light array. Got a nice light array there. What would that be for? Peak level meter. Oh, that's a volume meter for volume. So it goes up and down. That could be quite cool. Got a linear potentiometer there, one that goes left and right. Not round and round, not the rotating kind. Good for setting variable voltage things. Assume that's the controller for the light board here. They can contain small amounts of silver plated on the legs usually for better durability, I guess. Inside of the silicon there could also be small traces of silver. Inside of the miniaturized transistors that are inside that thing. Like all interconnected circuits, integrated circuits. Snip these wires off actually, since I'm going to be removing all of these components anyway for scrap. As I have no idea if they work, some I'll keep, some I won't. Others I'll sell on. Zip ties, definitely my enemy. Enemy of speed for teardown, speedy teardowns. Silver plated connector there. Come on, focus. Little bits of silver on the inside, plated. Why is my camera not focusing? Weird focus thing going on there. Anyway, these are silver plated. The connectors on the inside, but that's just plated, so you need an awful lot of them to deplate with reverse electrolysis to get any silver at all. Oh, bloody zip ties, I hate these things. They're quite annoying. That went somewhere. Not at me though. Where'd that go? Ooh, that went far, wherever it went. Oops. More screws here, and unsecuring. Nice red anodized ones. This just appears to be a resistor and transistor bank. Some sort of primitive amplifier. Not much on there for recovery. Some resistors, transistors, mostly plated, connector, very shiny, probably plated, not much solder at all. That, however, do have a nice transformer in here. Once I extract it, that will contain copper and steel, not that the steel's of use to me. Ooh, the screws are at a bizarre inward angle. How do I get to them? I think I need to take the front off. Oh, yep. Well, that works in a bizarre way. chunk of metal. Again, steel. Don't have the ability to melt steel. Well, I do, but it's really dangerous. I don't have a large enough space to do that. Knob. Always useful for missing knobs on audio devices. Seems to have cut or burned myself on my last teardown, as you can see. That always happens. Wouldn't do a teardown otherwise. What we got here? High voltage LED. They're quite chunky, these diodes, these LEDs that are in these things. Last two Technica ones. So this and the, what was the last thing I done? Integrated audio amplifier. Stupid name, but I guess that is what it was. More screws. This is for a grounding connection. Was for a ground connection. Metal zip tie there. Another ground connection. Lots of tangled wires here. Where do these connect to? Oh, they all connecting into that one. Yeah, they're all connecting into this thing here. Once this motor off here, as motors contain copper and obviously the casing as well. The metal casing can be used for things like a laser housing. Got some brass here. Brass is good. It looks like gold, but it's not. It's brass. Brass has a very golden appearance. It's generally used to make fake gold brass. It's so similar in appearance. Quite weighty bit of brass, like that stuff you get on plugs, household plugs. Same stuff. Right, more screws, anodized nice ones. Wrong screwdriver. It's best to have different sizes of screwdriver and the right ones. Got the right size, it'll make the screw move straight away, as opposed to using the wrong size screwdriver. You'll be all day chewing it up until there's no thread left for you to pick through, and then you'll have to saw through it. So that's not good. That one's stuck in there. Got it. A couple more screws, and then I'll get that transformer out. Lastly, won't take too long, this teardown I should think. And then 20 minutes or so. Lucky. Wait a minute. Is that going to remove or what? Seems to be some metal plate here holding it in place. There's that. Yay. So that's all that part. What have we got here? Oh, some sort of analog counter. I'm going to take that out. That thing's interesting. That's all. Screws flying everywhere. Doesn't matter, they're all going to go inside of a big pot of screws anyway. Ah, look at that thing. Got a numbers counter. And they reset as well. You do different codes. Press that. Yep, and it switches back to 0 for that as much. Well, that's neat. Keeping that little thing, that's entertaining. In a weird way. You know, Mad Max sort of toy way. Big chunk of plastic, ABS. Only recyclable if you have a 3D printer, so you can chip it up and then turn it into filament. So we have the tape deck here. Oh, that's a weighty thing. It's just mostly steel by the look of it. We do have this chunky motor, which I do want. So I'll go with extracting that. There's also a couple of magnetic readers at the bottom there. I do take them. Taking other mechanical components from it also. Screws and stuff going everywhere. It's a nice colour, that anodised screws. Unusual. Some sort of crimp. Very tiny wee screw here. I've got it. Ooh, oh, I've got it. Landed on my lap. Good. There's more on this side. Yeah. Holding the motor mounting in place. A small, very small. I think that's brass. Might not be. Or either gold. Could be gold plated. But I doubt it. It's not near an electronic area, so it must be brass. This one's stuck. And it's chewing up. So I'm going to get the pliers to loosen that. Sort of cheating, but it is a way of doing that. And now it'll undo, as you can see. Having been loosened a good deal by the pliers. You can actually recondition chewed up screws. It's not too difficult. Just use a Dremel to slice a new X inside of the screw, providing there's enough head remaining on it. Done it myself. All that removed now. Yeah. The motor has been removed. Ooh, what's that? A little fine, tiny end switch. Look at that. Made of copper. Ooh. Digging into my hands, all this. It's an unpleasantly metally teardown. Very cold. Where all these wires connect to? The readers. It's a nice chunky wheel here. And moving mechanism for the tape. Lots of gears. It'd be good in a remote control car or some such. Get this motor off this steel mounting if I can. These screws don't want to move. Damn. Loosen them with the pliers first. Some sort of rubber grommets underneath them, holding them in place, holding the motor in place. And they're very shallow screws also. Yeah, some sort of plastic crap. You know that? That's rubber. Yeah, rubber gaskets holding the motor to help with the vibration. Does make it difficult to undo though. Yay, all the screws on the motor mount are undone. Put that steel aside. Rubber grommet, if I can get it out, rubber stopper thing, O-ring, I think you call them. Nice chunky motor that. DC motor, yeah, 12 volt, powerful in other words. Probably good for a robot or something. Do make toys out of them sort of motors. Wow, this screw is just chewed up straight away. Damn it. These screws are very, very soft. certain these screws are not steel, they've probably made of some sort of alloy. Probably got a bit of zinc or something in them because they're quite brittle. A few elastic bands here. Tricky. Always useful. This wheel. It's just a weight, that is actually steel weight. From the tape deck. Not sure what use that could serve, other than a weight. Lots of wheels here, cogs, secured by these things, stoppers. That one went flying. They do come off though if you remove them stoppers. Doing that another time. So I feel like I'm going to stab myself at the moment with this screwdriver, which would be bad because it hurts. I've done it before, doing these things a long time ago. I have a memory of it. Taking a tape deck apart in the 90s when I was a very small child. Try and fix it. They were actually quite easy to fix back in the day. Usually cleaning the magnetic heads, these things, would be enough. You usually have some dust or some crap on them, which preventing the thing from reading properly. Flicking everywhere, them things. Don't like that. Another cog wheel mechanism. What's that? Ugh, it's greasy. Bit of steel. It's covered in grease. Lovely. What's this wheel attached to? That's coming off. Nice spring. More wheel mechanisms. Quite a bit there. There's a lot on this, lots of small brass screws. Dig ever deeper into this overly complicated Japanese mechanism. Pop them off. Possible. Yep. Thought so. Another tiny spring there. Springs are also always useful. So much you can do with springs. These audio heads in here I want out. I'll have to remove this bar or thing here. Still got that transformer over there to do. I'll be able to just pull that out. Well, no. Stopper on there. Hate removing these things. Oh, that didn't come out so bad actually. Yay. Right, should just come off now. No, why isn't it? Oh, there it is. Cool. Nice steel rod there. That'd be good for electroplating something. They are useful for that. Bent up spring there, could probably be fixed. And I'll expose those magnetic readers there, those heads for the tape cassette. But I'm going to move on to the transformer at the moment. Possible. There's only a couple of screws actually to remove that. Looking at it closer, the 5 screws. So quickly do them. See? And I'll be able to remove that whole wiry mess. Leave all this mechanical stuff aside. There's just more and more cogs and wheels in there. May or may not remove them. A bit of zinc in there as well. Zinc alloy. You can see it'll be worth getting to. One of the heads removed. Almost. He's got Loctite on them. It's ancient. Yay. So that's the mechanical thing that's left. Just moving a few gears and a few springs inside of there. Lots of brass screws. Put that aside. Don't want that. So last thing, that transformer. Not a bad haul from this thing, actually. A circuit board, transformer, lots of mechanical motion components, chunky motor. I think this transformer is actually attached to that circuit board, soldered in place. Looks to be. There we go. Plastic waste, a chunk of steel, whack them off. Ooh, it's loud. There we go. Remove all the metal, plastic, separate it. So there's the transformer, contains a nice amount of copper on that coil there. You can see the copper there, just underneath the tape. Usually big blobs of solder on here, but there's actually skinny amount. Not much, I mean. High voltage switch there, but the top is snapped off, but it still functions. Not too much on there, looks to be copper plated with silver though, on the main switch. So let's have a look at what we got all together. Quickly. Put them on the circuit boards. And then tools aside. That nice counter, I like that thing. Some analog reasons. That is one of the readers. Oh, they just come straight off. They're both on their own then. Cool. A load of cogs and wheels. Fair enough. There's a couple of heads of button tops there also. Oh, I forgot about that. Not really though. A little close-up look for end of the video. The components that I gathered. Still a few more switch heads on them. Some rings on them. They look to be brass, maybe gold plated. No, they're brass anodized. These wheels. The inside may be gold plated. Or silver. No, that's silver plated. I can see it. Fair enough. Got that circuit board. Oh, there's a few inducers there. I didn't see them. These black things here contain small amounts of copper. They do. Underneath that magnetic material is the ferrite core. It's just basically a chunk of iron with carbon in it. Got more of them capacitors, contain tantalum, one's pure aluminium, the electrolytics. Mostly silver plated legs on them all. Got a big chip there. Lots more of them capacitors. A light bar and variable potentiometer. Plenty of solder on all these things. Probably a couple of grams, maybe a gram out of it all, a little bit over, who knows. And one way to find out is desolder it all. Nice pile of screws, including them pretty anodized ones. They're actually pretty cool then. Great for some remote control doodad. And got that chunky motor with the copper inside of it also. DC motor, 12 volts. Good quality. Well, till next time.